Well, hello and welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you today. This is your Team Prosperity meeting, and today is September 16th, 2020, and I'm so excited to be here with my husband, Mike Amos, and really what I want to talk about today is just really one thing before he starts his great presentation. And the one thing that I wanted to talk about today was the beginning of the 12-week year that just started this Monday. And I was thinking about, how I really want to make this the best 12-week year ever. And instead of just, thinking about wanting to make it, I'm just going to do it. So I've decided that I've got some, different strategy, mindset, and tactics, that I want to do. And I really started working on this, this Monday and Tuesday and today. And I really am trying to get more organized. I'm not putting things on to-do lists. I've made one strong goal, and to get to that goal, I need both recruiting quality people as well as production. So I'm really tracking just minimal, most important tasks to reach those goals, and I'm not tracking anything that I do already. So all the LinkedIn and all that stuff that I've already automated and I'm doing every day, that's not on my list. I've only got the stuff listed and I'm tracking things that make me uncomfortable, that get me out of my shell, because I want to have more better results, right? So I want to take more definitive action towards those goals. And making more phone calls has always been definitely something that I need to work on. I mean, I'm on the phone all day, but I need to make more new phone calls. So I'm going to start blocking out a time and just, locking myself in my office and making those phone calls. And, that's my strategy for me. I'm going to keep improving my follow-up system. I'm going to follow up more. And I'm going to stay accountable, to myself and using the weekly accountability, the WHAM groups. I think that's really important. And this is actually it right here. You can see I just have intro calls, posts, interactions. That's really, the things that I'm not doing that I need to do more of. So I hope that this added a little bit of value. I know that that's all I'm ever trying to do, whether it's on a call like this or when I'm talking to a prospective business partner or a prospective client. I want to figure out, how can we help them? What solutions can we find? What value do we have? So I hope you got just a little bit out of this. I'm really excited for Mike's presentation. I'll close with this slide, stay positive, work hard, and make it happen. And I'm a strong believer in there's only always now. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, let's just hop into it. We got a little light crowd today. Everybody, or I got some notices that people are on meetings and appointments with clients, partners, which is always a good reason to miss a meeting. Remember, these are noon Eastern on Wednesday, so an odd time. That's why we always post them in social media, email them out so your partners have access to it. Let's just dive into some things that will help you. So we've been talking about the last number of weeks why it's very, very, very important in this day and age when people are so forgetful and their attention spans are so small in terms of that length of time. You got to remind people. And it's almost an assurity. If you, for example, set a Thursday appointment or talk to somebody Thursday and you got a Monday appointment because they couldn't make it for the weekend for some reason, if you don't follow up or remind them, they're probably not going to make that Monday meeting. So what you want to do is either manually or in all of these calendar integrations that we're using on the premium, which is $8, $9, $10 a month usually, you can get the automated follow-up and reminders, which takes care of everything. Remember, we love automation. This will help the number of no-shows turn into the more cancels and reschedules, which is what we're looking for. Structure versus non-structure, accountability versus guesswork. It's all about just getting yourself structured. And if you're not, what happens is even if you're a hard worker, you really have no idea what's going on. You're not able to grow or scale if it starts to work. And if it doesn't work, you don't really know what the problems are, how to alleviate the blockages, how to remove those obstacles. So you need to be structured and you need to be accountable. And I know these are all the things that nobody wants to do, but they are essential and they're very, very important to building a successful distribution channel in a very large industry like this. We always want to know from our potential partners, our potential clients, hey, what do you want? How are you going to get there? How long is it going to take? We need to also continually to remind ourselves internally within our own organizations and our own selves, still, where are we right now? What do we want? How are we going to get there? How long is it going to take? And one of the things, like Alana mentioned, that really helps us is compressing those time frames. So it's not where do I want to be at the end of next year, 2021. It's where do I want to be at the beginning of December when this 12-week year expires. Where do I want to be in the first, second, third, fourth quarter of next year? By extending those those goals and those objectives way far out there, it gives us time to procrastinate and be less aggressive. We want massive action. So just compress time frames. And then even in the day, if you go hard at something for an hour, back off of it for a little bit of time and go back at it. Don't just sit down in the chair for multiple hours. You lose your intensity, you lose your energy, and that will show up in the lack of results. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because Alana did cover this, but the 12-week year will help you get organized. It will help you identify what you want, how to get there, and then also what's wrong with you in terms of what you're doing or what you're doing that you should not be doing. Self-reflection and self-inventory is never a fun process, but there's a lot of growth behind that if you allow it. And each day you need to have a plan of action going into that day, because if you don't know what you're going to do today, today's already a failure. That's very, very important. You have to prepare to win, not just in long-term goals, but also in short-term goals and day-to-day activity. Give yourself a progress report. If you're doing well, build off the momentum. If you did terrible, you have an opportunity to reset, but you always need to know what you do and what results those get. Your vision is also the most important factor of something that you go through that's going to change you for the better. If it's, a process, if it's building a business, if it's any of these things, to help you stay on track, you're going to need a powerful why. That's your vision. There's 2 in the 12-week year, aspirational and 3-year. Obviously, over a 36-month period, that's quite a number of 12-week years. You can get a lot done with that. But just understand that when you compress time frames and you identify really what you want, and you feel that with emotion, you can place yourself there in the future, accomplishing that goal. All that's left is just the day-to-day activity until you get there. And the 8 elements of high performance, this is what you guys have to put together. You have to have a vision. You have to have a plan. You have to have a process control. You have to have some type of measurement to know what's going on. You have to have effective time use. You have to be accountable. There's got to be a commitment to something, and greatness in the moment. Number 8 is really important. Every single day you have an opportunity to be great, or you have an opportunity not to be great. And if your days start to stack up where you're not being great in the moment, the overall objectives, the goals, the results, everything's going to start to, be in a place where you're not reaching them. And accountability is the glue that gets all of it together. It holds the commitment. And so when we have a problem, it's usually from accountability, because from accountability, it reveals things that we're doing well, we're not doing well, and we can repair those things that we're not doing well. If we just say that everything's going okay and that we don't want any constructive criticism, and that's met with aggression or resistance, then we're never, ever going to be able to grow. So it's our fault for what's going on. So we identify the personality defects, the self-sabotage, whatever's going on. We identify it first, and then we correct it. It's not an easy process, but it's necessary. Also, all of this is going to help you. If you start identifying targets and objectives and compressing time frames, not only is it going to help you with right now, it's going to help you with an exit strategy. All of you guys and all of your partners coming in should have an exit strategy. What am I trying to accomplish, and what time frame, and what I'm trying to stack up to where I leave, it's paying me X amount per month for the foreseeable future. Day to day, prepare for the day. Let people know about you, your business, what you do, network. Remember, nobody knows you're in business. You're not going to do any business. That's very, very important. Interact with your teammates and partners. We're not crammed in an office, which is great, but there's got to be some connection, or else people start feeling like they're on a desert island and they don't really have the support. Even if you're just checking in with them to see how their day goes, or if you're responding back to a CRM note with just some type of a positive affirmation, those over time, those little bricks of positive interactions with your clients and your partners really builds up. Form relationships, and then, be accountable. Have weekly accountability meetings with your partners. Make sure that everybody knows that you're in it to win it and you expect everybody else around you to have the same type of attitude. It goes back to every single day, what are we doing? If you write down what you do, and don't tell me who the person is, you can just look at their daily activity. I can tell you this person's successful, this person's not successful. So it's no magic trick, it's no secret recipe, it's just what am I going to do day in, day out so I don't have to do it anymore. The rich get rich by solving problems. The rich get rich by doing something very, very well over and over and over again. Make goals, whether it's a marketing plan, number of connections that you want, the calls, the follow-ups, the partners, the advancements, the money, all of this stuff, when you make and identify what you want to achieve, it's a lot easier to get there. If you don't know what you want, you're never going to get there. You're just going to wander around. I don't want to make calls. You guys don't want to make calls. Nobody wants to make calls, but it's an important part of our business. It's the most relative and important tool to what we do because all the other stuff is designed to do one thing, create phone communication. So if you're not making enough calls per week, then you're going to lose out to the people who are willing to do that unsuccessful task, and it's going to cost you monetarily. Remember, this is not magic. It's not a magician. It's repetition. So it's very important you guys understand that anything that you do over time, good, bad, or ugly, there's going to be a progression there. If you put yourself in a good space, you're going to have stair-step growth, and the culmination or the compounding effect of all those stair steps that you're gradually making ends up being a huge growth cycle or a huge growth pattern, and you will be setting an example for other people. Remember, repetition is the key to mastery. So anything you do, you'll get very, very good at it. Being lazy, not working, working hard, anything that you do, you're going to get better at it. So in the beginning, it's frustrating. You're not good at it. Maybe the results aren't quite there. But just know that when you get to that point and your language and verbiage is there, your delivery is there, your confidence is there, you're going to make up for all that lost ground. And then it's just going to be like just continuous cycle of people in different parts of the communication cycle giving you the outcomes that you're looking for. Do you have the desire to dominate the market? And this is really, really important. Not the whole entire market, what you're going after. Remember, we can't be everything to everyone. If you try to be that person, especially online, you'll find that your message doesn't get to anybody and it doesn't resonate with anybody. Who can I work best with? Who do I want to work with? What's the perceived problems they're having that I think that I can solve, and I go out there. What's going to get the best results? Like Alana said, we do things on a day-to-day basis that aren't that important. So if we don't get that stuff done, it's okay. But if we don't get the very, very crucial, critical task done, that is a big factor. So identify what's the most important thing that you need to do in the day. Do that, regardless. And then the other stuff, if it gets done, great. If it doesn't, you got your tasks done that are important. Activity and accountability, and really just grit. And we talk about the refusal to give in or give up. Building a business from the very start, ground floor, is not an easy task. Many people will quit doing that. You can't let that affect your vision or your motivation. Procrastination. It's fun to procrastinate, right? You can continue to push things off. It's kind of like a credit card. It's a lot of fun until you get that bill. So just remember that procrastination is actually an expense. It's a time expense and a money expense. So when you're looking at that ledger of how your life's going and procrastination continually creeps in, costing you money, costing you promotions, it's wasting your time, and you're basically just kind of drifting. So you want to get yourself in check and realize that I'm in charge of my own life. And when I start to get dedicated, detailed into what I do, this will naturally just evaporate and disappear from the habits that you formed. This is all we're looking for, guys. Don't get caught up on the results. And I know that's hard to do because we want to be successful, we want to make money, we want to grow this distribution. But at the end of the day, we're just out there doing what we need to do repetitively, rolling the dice, having outcomes. And we know if we do that enough, we're going to get what we're looking for. Partner A, great, that person checked out. Partner B didn't check out. There's a lot of partner Bs coming through. There might be some things that you can change in the language or verbiage. But if you're doing well and they're just not quality enough to bring them in, it's okay. Don't get hung up on the no's. Don't get hung up on what happened that was negative in your business or didn't happen. Concentrate on the positives, concentrate on the yeses, and just understand these are all filters to save you from time wasting, from resource wasting, from headaches, and really making this business a grind. I am a builder, and there's a difference between building and recruiting, and I never knew that until I actually started this business and saw people just throw people against the wall. Can't just bring people in, expect them just to do whatever and back away instantly. Builder means you're actually in with these people. You're spending time with these. You're developing talent. Now, it's got to be a two-way commitment. They've got to be able to commit to what we're doing here, and then we commit our time from our side. But when you look at the overall approach to the marketplace, when you look at warm market, you know those people. Your partners know those people. So if there's a product or service that we offer on the business opportunity and you know it's not for them, you can go directly to there. But quite frankly, outside of my warm market, which I still revisit because if things happen like COVID, I want to check in on people, see if there's anything I can help them out with. But outside of that, I'm a builder. I'm a recruiter. I'm looking for partners. I will actively look for talent every single day because I know as they come in, those open up networks and clients and additional business partners, sales, revenue, growth, income, promotion, bonuses, trips, eventually a monster organization with business activity coast to coast and nationwide distribution. So understand what you're doing and understand why you're doing it. And one of the reasons that we do what we do, why I'm a builder, is because I know that I need a team of people that I can count on, a team of leaders to help me build, multiple channels of multi-million-dollar distribution. So I know that going out there, I know a lot of people will come in, a lot of people will quit, some people will have some activity, but a percentage of those people will build that winning team. And quite frankly, guys, it's really about 7 to 10. I think you can get by with 5 to 7, but 7 to 10. Now, how many people you have to bring in to get to those people, it's going to be up to you, how well you use your filters, your personas, and how well you do what you do. But the building of the winning team gets you here. And we've talked about this before. The producer can jump out to a lead over that person building distribution. It can last for a period of time, but if when that distributor, a person building distribution, catches up with the producer will never, ever, ever have a chance, not even a small chance, to keep up or keep pace. Distribution is king in every industry, and especially an industry measured in trillions. So one of the things that you have to do, whether you're talking to a client, a partner, or yourself, is explain what your product or your business does. What does it solve? Because remember, we're not selling, we're not recruiting, we're solving problems. So when you go out there and you're talking to somebody, if you can't answer this question in a clear, concise, articulate way that makes sense, revisit it until you can. Ask questions, ask what other people say, because you've got to be to the point. Long-winded is not going to work in this marketplace right now. People want all these things. Yes, they want time freedom. Yes, they want financial freedom. Yes, they want lifestyle freedom. We can actually start to package up pieces of this instantly. However, when you go out with this cliche kind of language, it's lost. So you want to identify, yes, time freedom, yes, lifestyle freedom, but how do you do that? And once again, not in a long, drawn-out way, but how do we give time freedom, how do we give lifestyle freedom, and how do we give a legitimate pathway to working hard, not now, but financial freedom down the line? What motivates your audience? Remember, there's a pain point that you have to solve, whether it's a client or a partner. Is it going to be that they are looking for pleasure, that feel-good moment, or are they avoiding pain? Sometimes avoiding pain can be a stronger motivating factor. It's the old school kind of stick versus the carrot, and you're going to have to find out what works better for your personality and what works best for your persona. If you're looking at the recruitment funnel, then you need to be able to identify talent at the top of that funnel, and then you need to convert that talent to the bottom of the funnel where you have activation, retention, revenue, income growth. Now, that comes from profiling. Profiling means having a persona of who I'm looking for. Who is it I want to work for? Who does best in a business like this? And then I'm targeting them. I'm finding them online or wherever it is, and I'm generating traffic. I'm having those those partner conversations. And for the appropriate people, they're contracting. And then, that's after the conversion and contracting. This is the most important part. You got to get people out there making money. Activation and retention. High quality traffic with a systematic follow-up that leads to a legitimate income opportunity. Repeat, repeat, repeat. That's all you guys got to do. Some of this will work out. Some of it won't. Don't worry about the no's like we talked about. Concentrate on what you have right now that's working for you, and then looking out forward what you're trying to attract. You're connecting the dots for people. And remember, it's not about anything from our side. It's about what those things can do for that potential partner, whether you're integrated into a vertical, whether you're freeing up this or that. It's got to make sense for them, once again, in a very compressed way with your language to get them to start taking action steps. The first action step is to watch videos. Second action step might be there's some decision point in the funnel that has to be made. But don't continue to let the other side dominate the conversation with just procrastination. Yeah, call me next Thursday. That sounds good. It's not going to work. If they're not going to adhere to the guidelines of what we call the tier 1 contact, then you just move on to somebody that will. Becoming a recruiter, it's going to take some effort, persistence, strategy, passion. You've got to be able to connect with the right people. Attracting talent is a skill that you can learn. You've got to know how to answer the toughest questions in a way that does not bring people in here all false pretenses. This is hard work. We're not out there doing manual labor like digging ditches, but this is work where an entrepreneur, works very hard sometimes for nothing. Or sometimes we can, have an extraordinarily good month. It's a cash flow roller coaster, especially in the very, very beginning. Practice makes perfect. And remember, we're not in an office. So that role playing that, you would do in that old school traditional office, we just say that's phone time. And the easiest way is just get out in the cold market where there's no real invested, money or resources, where you can go out there and people answer the phone. You can get the rocks out of your mouth. That'll get you through the learning curve. And remember, honesty, guys, is always the best policy. Do not bring the wrong people in here with the wrong intentions or of what this really is. 5 skills of a great recruiter. You become a great recruiter, you get rich in a distribution building method like this. Challenge the conventional thinking. We're new, think new. How do things look today, and what are the answers? Where's the opportunity to better that other person's life? Locate hard-to-find talent. This is one that's, again, where is the talent that I'm looking for? Once I identify who it is, where they are, I've got to get a message that resonates with them. Be good at what you do. Brand yourself. And the perks of cultural values that come along with some of the digital opportunities that we have in our life. Turn passive prospects to eager candidates. Recruiting the successful. Sometimes that's not right now because of some variable factor like time. So you need to learn how to convert people into maybe later. Now, not everybody is worth a follow-up. I chase talent. I don't chase everybody. And then the ability to leverage data to their advantage. We want to make data-driven decisions, not just emotional decisions based on how we feel when we get up in the morning. I'll take 1 good partner over 8 that just waste a bunch of my time. And the reason is because all the time that I put into these 8, put a little bit more into that 1 that I think can make it. It shows up in the back-end results for this person as well as my organization. So definitely quality over quantity. And then start, like I said, cultivating those long-term relationships from no into later. Be aggressive in identifying the right candidates. Don't pussycat around in this. If you find somebody that says, man, I really want this person in my organization, go after them. If you get stuck in the conversation, especially as you're, persistently chasing somebody that, that you guys had a good vibe, it makes sense, they're interested. If on those follow-up calls you get stuck, or really in any conversation, if you get stuck, don't freak out, hit the eject button and say, hey, I'm going to send you some more videos. Learn just how to ask some questions. The easiest way, have some questions in front of you. It allows you to still control the conversation, continues to have them talking, which is going to give you the information that you're looking for. Got to follow up. And if you don't follow up, and there was a video when we first started this, it was like an Art Williams video, the difference between a $500,000 earner and a $50,000. Not too much, guys. It's a lot of the small things, and one of those is follow-up. Not follow-up just for the point of following up and having people say, just chasing them for long periods of time. But when you follow up, you've got to be personal. You've got to be relevant. You've got to entice people to the next action steps and the call to action. So once again, not just following up for the sake of following up, but following up with excitement and with a determined target objective of what we're trying to do from that phone call. There are some things that we used in the past that I think we can revisit, and I'm going to start highlighting some of these. But I've noticed in the past when we put a bunch of stuff together, it's confusing for people. We used sales jobs in the past. Good things about sales jobs is, now once again, the couple things that we're reintroducing today are kind of old school internet things. Sales jobs have been around for a while. The good thing is for like $400 or $500 a month, you can have multiple people having logins. So if you've got a team, A, They can get a hold of the complete resume database. You guys can post jobs in multiple cities here. So from an organizational standpoint, if you're starting to build a little branch office and you need access to this for some of your partners, it's a great way that you don't have to be that person that's sending out the resumes or helping them with the ads. You can give them a login, and they can go in and start basically doing it for themselves. So that, now remember, this is just a resume data bank. So when you get in there, there's going to be some old stuff, but this isn't for a job. This is for legit opportunities in financial services, entrepreneurial opportunities. So that's one thing that can probably be revisited. And then when you're looking at stuff, you can organize. You can get rid of the people that, that are looking for W-2 income, 100% commission. And when you organize that and select that as a filter, you'll get all the returns of 100% commission here. Call flow on this stuff is very, very simple. If they don't know you and you're reaching out to them with something like a resume, you want to go from an interruption to a planned conversation for a first scheduled interaction. That means getting in front of them very quickly and pre-qualifying them to see if there's a way that we move forward, see if it makes sense, and then have them take the next steps, which is the video and the follow-up call. What you say in the first 20 seconds is crucial, guys. You're not trying to cram stuff down people's throat, trying to get in front of them, identify yourself, who you are, why you're calling, and that why you're calling is usually going to be based on something that you can do for them. Remember, no one cares about anything we have from this side until they understand what's in it for them. Craigslist is another one. Craigslist was not worth anything for a period of time on the ads because the economy was so red hot. But we can revisit that now. Just make sure you follow the terms and guidelines because, excuse me, once you do get ghosted or account locked up, they will not unfreeze it. So if you guys have questions about what you can or cannot do, let me know. Prices vary by location. Experiment both sides, large and small cities as well as suburban and rural areas. The difference is if you put an ad in a big city, it's going to get a lot of traffic, but there's going to be a lot of other ads. Those smaller areas, yes, it gets less traffic, but your ad stands out. So you guys can kind of play around with this. You can revisit this approach now. There's so many people on the move. If you see that, the number of notifications that you guys get back every day in LinkedIn from people on the move, new jobs and things, it's exploding right now. So these type of things that weren't much value over the past year and a half, you can start revisiting this stuff now. Ultimately, yes, whatever you need to get your business off the ground in the beginning, if it's resume bank, if it's outbound cold calls, whatever it may be, don't make that all of your business, but also you want to transfer that part of your business over time into inbound marketing. Nothing better than talking to somebody who's already been exposed to what you have and they actually want to talk to you about it instead of you manufacturing the interest on the front side. So all of this stuff is what we work towards to try to create leads that are inbound instead of the outbound manufacturing of interest that you have to do most of the time in cold calls. But like I said, in the beginning, how do you get it done? However, whatever it takes. Follow your schedule. Got a communication strategy that includes a lot of stuff, an online strategy, website, social media strategy. But remember, when you're talking to somebody, if you're sending something out and it gets lost in cyberspace, well, that's going to hold things up and continue to get you back at point A. Okay, I didn't know that. Let me resend you the videos. Preemptively overcome that. Give them the videos by email, by text, by social media messages. Use all the forms of communication to get in front of people. Allow them to get the information in their preferred method of communication and allow them to respond back. Because if you're not, let's say you don't use text, well, guess what? Text may have been their preferred method. Most everybody reads their text. You may have 5 or 6 additional follow-ups when you could have resolved the lead on follow-up attempt number 2. You got to build a brand. We talked about this. You are the brand. The company is not the brand. The product's not the brand. The service isn't the brand. You're the brand. People are going to buy into you first. Who are you? What are you all about? What's your history? And why do you do what you do? Remember, people are going to buy into your why above anything else because most of the time people out there, they can't even tell you why. One day at a time. That's how this business gets built. You have good days, bad days, but the culmination of enough good rounds in the ring gives you the win. An online business is, from a macro kind of perspective, that's where you want to be. You want to be leveraging technology, the internet, all these things. You want to be an entrepreneur. This is the golden age of the entrepreneur. You just have to put it together in a way that makes sense. You've got to have a long-term vision. You've got to have self-reliance. You've got to have self-reflection. And you've got to learn from others. So find some mentors, whether it be marketing mentors, whatever it is that you're looking to get better at. The best way to learn skills of successful business owners is to study and be mentored by one of them and then grow the skills yourself. So who's doing it well, learn from them, and then also take time to pause, reflect, and know where you're going. We don't have a boss, which is great, but also this is not a problem-free business. No entrepreneur that you ever talk to has had a problem-free business. In fact, when you talk to successful entrepreneurs, they want to talk about the struggles, not the successes, because that's what made them. Being an entrepreneur comes with its own set of problems. You're not going to find a problem-free environment. Being an entrepreneur and being a leader is solving problems. So if somebody comes to me with a problem and I dwell on the problem, that's not leadership. I want to start concentrating on how the solution is going to look for that particular problem. Success is awarded to those willing to do the uncomfortable. You know, whether it be day in, day out, month in, month out, it's going to be a compounding effect, good, bad, or ugly for you. You get out of the comfort zone, watch what happens in your life. And you guys can tell that. You know, I moved away right after high school. I came back, almost 20 years later, and I saw people that never went outside their comfort zone. They never grew, and it's amazing to me. So make sure that, you get nervous, you get scared sometimes, you get fearful of things that you do when they're uncomfortable, but there's a lot of growth inside that. Small victories are significant, especially in the beginning. That's why I'm talking about positive affirmations for your clients coming in. Building a business from the ground floor is not easy. When you can get in there and help them celebrate the small victories, it keeps the excitement level going during what I call the survival period, which is a tough period to make. Activity. You've got business activity, you've got marketing activity. Don't get the two of them mixed up, and make sure that equal sides are getting equal attention. In LinkedIn, there are marketing opportunities. There are networking opportunities. Networking opportunities can lead to marketing opportunities. If you're constantly just marketing a product, a service, or a business, no one's going to want to hear from you anymore. When you network, show interest in other people, see what they're doing, talk to them, know hidden agendas or predetermined outcomes that you're looking for, it makes everything that we do online a lot easier. You're going to have the activity. You got to grow the audience. Now, I hear a lot of people say, I've got a big audience. I just want to see what I can do with that. You have to constantly be growing your audience. So one of the things, the build, engage, sell, the 3 activities that we do every day, you have to build the audience continuously. You have to engage the audience with education, entertainment, whatever it is that you're doing. You have to grow your brand. Who are you? And you have to educate yourself. If you're not educating yourself on social media and other people are, once again, you're going to pay a price for that. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest, according to Benjamin Franklin, and that's very, very true. So how much time do we have carved out this week to learn new things? Well, if it's 0, just switch that up a little bit, because daily, if you're talking about 30 minutes, it's 2% of your day. And this doesn't have to be done anytime, nighttime, morning time, weekend. Put a little effort into studying some new skills. YouTube is my favorite. I go to YouTube if I want to watch something just for learning about it, that's fine. If I want to watch something that requires me to start and stop it and take the action steps that they come up, I do that as well. Everything from fixing washers to, anything that you want to do. I haven't called a technician out to the house in quite a number of years, because if it's an easy fix, I'll just hop on YouTube real quick. So same thing with your business. If you want to learn how to Facebook market, you want to learn how to YouTube market, you want to learn how to use Instagram, there's people out there that will tell you how to do it. Easiest way is go to the channel, search for what you're doing or looking for, and then find something that has 2 components. One, a good number of views, and then especially for social media marketing, you want something fresh. Because if it's not fresh, it's 4 or 5 years old, it may not be relevant. The reason most people are unhappy, guys, is because they just continuously make excuses. And when you do that, you're rarely productive. So on the client side, we understand that all these people out here right now are concerned about money matters, but very few understand how money works. So we understand that if they don't learn how money works, they'll spend the rest of their lives working for it. So that's our mission, how money works. A lot of people have kind of packed it in, and they're going to say, I'm going to do without. I'm going to make sacrifices. I'm just going to deal with it. This is what they're telling themselves as well as their kids. What we say and what our mission is, hey, with the right planning and the right mindset, anything is possible with hard work. Be committed to see something through and create your future. Don't just accept whatever is given to you. Getting rich is not a fantasy. And so you're looking for people with that growth mindset. You're looking at all these people that are struggling paycheck to paycheck, no retirement, no emergency fund. People just don't know how money works. And when they don't know how to make money, and fewer people don't know how to keep it, and almost no one knows how to multiply it. So the problem that you have on the client side is great. You just have to go in there and effectively teach people. And the biggest pushback I get sometimes about financial services and what we try to do to create wealth for people, I'm not interested in being wealthy. And that's just a cop-out excuse, because you have your choice, A or B, and you can pick one. Of course, you're going to choose to be wealthy. You can only give back from a surplus. So being wealthy, especially as an entrepreneur, is important for your causes and what you want to do. So if that's not enticing to somebody, if the wealth factor is not enticing to somebody, what's the opposite side? Well, then you need to make sure that you don't become one of those people that lives in poverty. So it's the rich versus the poor, and one might be a motivating factor for one person, and the other might be a motivating factor for the other person. You just don't know. And the last thing that I want to leave you guys with, last couple of slides, are really about overvaluing some people. So when you get a partner or a client, if they're not willing to help themselves, at some point you just got to say goodbye. If you're brave enough to say goodbye and not waste your time continuously on trying to make something happen for somebody that you want it to happen more than they do, by saying that goodbye, life usually rewards you with a brand new hello. And that person could be a huge client for you. They could be an instrumental part of your organizational build out. So understand, you can't resurrect the dead. You can't do things for people if they're not willing to do it for themselves. Move on. Lots of people to talk to. Get rid of those people early. If they're unwilling to make the changes, if they're unwilling to get out of their comfort zone, if they're unwilling to get out of that fixed mindset and make the necessary changes when we've got solutions right in front of them, best of luck going forward. They have taken an action step. Their action step by no action is a plan really to fail horribly in life, especially on the financial side. We've got over 100 days left, and I keep telling you guys, a lot of this year has been a bust for a lot of people. Just like, if you were in a fight, you got to get up. You got to make a fist. You got to punch 2020 right back in its face. Over 100 days left. Let's get together. Let's try to make a plan of action. Last number of months here, really crush it, because anything you do will have an immediate positive impact now. And while everybody else is in January of 2021 starting to reset, starting to think about goals, you have springboarded into that year. So I appreciate that you guys were on today. If you guys have any questions, let us know. Obviously, if you're working on your business, we are more than willing to help you work as well. Lots of times, if you're having the activity and the results aren't coming, it can be as small of a thing as just some language, verbiage, tweakage. So just let us know what the problems are, and we'll help you eliminate them.
Thank you so much, Mike. That was such a great training and really, really good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then we'll open up the floor for questions or comments. Thank you so much.